Welcome to Break 20, friends, a series that pumps the brakes for about 20 minutes to connect, listen, and learn from others. My name is Jason Vasquez. My pronouns are he, him, his. And I started Break 20 to remind us of the importance of listening and spreading some good vibes in the process through some really great conversations. So I'm excited that you're tuning in for an unedited and unscripted conversation with my guest, Ben Kay. Ben, welcome.
Woohoo!
I am so glad to kick it with you for the next 20 minutes. So for those of you who don't know Ben, he is a marine scientist and marine biology teacher at Santa Monica High School. He has dedicated his life and his career to teaching his students about aquatic and terrestrial ecosystems. Ben engages youth in real research, service learning, and educational outreach activities focused on environmental sustainability, and I've been a part of a few of those. He's a husband, father to two adorable kids, an avid surfer, former college roommate at UC Santa Barbara, which means he knows just enough about me to be dangerous. So, Ben, how are things going in California, man?
Oh, wow. Well, right now we have an atmospheric river that is pouring a lot of much needed rain down upon us, Jason, and hopefully we'll stave off the mudslides and crazies. But yeah, after all those fires earlier this year, we're having a lot of rain, and that's scary.
So talk to me about that. I know that when rain happens in California, it's called first flush, or at least the first day of rain in a long time. And I know that you get your family together, you get the kids together, you go out to the beach and you do a cleanup. But talk to people a little bit about share a little bit about what first flush means.
Sure. Well, some families wake up, and make the pancakes, bacon, and eggs. My family does that too sometimes, but most recently we had the first big rainstorms a couple weeks back, and that, as you noted, collects a lot of trash from the streets and the sidewalks, and it takes it into those holes that you see in the curb, which are curbside catch basins. And then all of this trash heads through the storm drain system and out onto our local beaches. And with enough rainwater, it pushes its way across the beach, scouring a pathway through the sand, taking everything that's been in the storm drain, from little creatures and big creatures to all of our plastic pollution, and literally throws it directly into the Pacific. And so I've been documenting this phenomenon for 13 years with my students. And it's a really ugly, grotesque thing to witness. But every time it happens, there are a lot of nonprofit groups and a lot of people who take great interest to go out there and do an emergency beach cleanup. And so my family this year was the first on the scene. And I got down there, I did my typical, hey, honey, I need backup. Called my wife and she brought the kids down. And then about 5-10 minutes later, I see my son just hauling across the sand to come down and remove some of this plastic pollution off of Santa Monica Beach.
I know that when we go out surfing, we usually pick up about like 10 or 20 pieces of trash and put it on our board and walk it out, which I think is such a good practice. If you're ever visiting the beach, don't be afraid to pick up litter and dispose of it properly.
Yeah, it's a good thing. Yeah, there's actually an organization, I think they call themselves Take 3 or Take 5, kind of like you're on set at the beach and after you've had a moment to enjoy whatever recreational activity or just beach going, your experience, you collect 3 things before you leave the beach, just to leave what gave to you a better place.
Yeah, I think that's a good rule of practice. So, dude, you recently celebrated a birthday. So happy birthday, or happy belated birthday.
Thank you, my friend.
So like, what's been your take on birthdays now that you are as young as you are? Like, has the significance of a birthday taken on more meaning, or has it taken on less meaning as you've gotten older?
I don't know. I mean, you're the one who constantly reminds me that I've got some scarecrow lines going on my face. So just leave it to Vasquez to remind you how young you look. But you know, each year is less about me and more about the work that I do for the planet, and also more about, you know, family time and special time with friends. You know, I think we're both at that age where we're growing older. We're seeing our parents and some of our, you know, elders kind of age and ail in various ways, and you kind of, and anyway, that's kind of signified to me that we need to make the most out of every moment we have left, because you never know. We could check out, the light switch might be turned off next year, next month, tomorrow. You never know. So as I get older, I'm finding myself valuing each day a little bit more. You know, that's precious time we spend with our significant others and offspring. Everything takes a lot more meaning, and I'm trying to keep focused on the now and live in the moment more, maybe, than when I was a little younger.
How do you like stay focused and try and be in the moment a little more? Like, is there some sort of practice that you've implemented for yourself that keeps you on that track of staying focused and staying in the moment?
Taking time out to turn off the red mind, it's called. I think everyone can relate to the fact that when we're in our workday, we have that, we're constantly in our red brain, what's called the red mind. And we have a million thoughts coming. We're looking at to-do lists, we're looking at emails, and we're plugging away, and our mind is just always switched on.
Right.
And I think for me, it's about living in the moment, is making sure that at some point each day, and definitely on weekends and holidays, that I turn the red mind off, and I turn on my blue and my green mind. And there's a great book called Blue Mind, and it's about this idea that we need to connect with nature and with other people, and switch that go LA mouse wheel or New York mouse wheel mentality, and get onto just slow down, do something different, take in the trees and the seas, and have a moment to rest and recover. And if when we do that, the science is very clear. There's a lot of neuroscience on this, is that we start releasing all kinds of positive endorphins and hormones within our bodies, and a lot of those have a restorative effect.
Absolutely.
So that's just slowing down at some point each day, if we can. That's what I aspire to do, and of course, live life with a purpose, right, Jason Vasquez?
Absolutely. So talk to me, like, give me a little insight into how your family's responded to the pandemic. How are the kids understanding what a pandemic means? What has been the most surprising thing you've learned about you guys as a family as you navigate the pandemic? And what's been the most challenging thing?
Well, geez, the pandemic has, I mean, it's challenged everybody, first of all. And I think it's really helped all of us recognize what's really important in our life. One thing is that I see a whole lot more surfers where we go surfing together, and I see a lot more people hiking. And so I think people are starting to connect to that idea that, you know, we need to spend a little bit of time, and you know, now that we've been shut down, what's going to restore us? Like the normal things, the everyday thing that we would normally do, and the people we'd see are not necessarily there. Of course, there's Zoom and phone calls and FaceTime and such, but what's really going to keep us going when we don't have that social interaction? And you see people branching out into nature, and again, taking in the scenery, because nature in a big way, a profound way, restores us.
Yeah.
In fact, nowadays doctors are starting to write prescriptions to spend time in nature to their patients, which is awesome. I love that. But our family, through this hardship, you know, we live in a 1 bedroom, so we've always been close, and now we're just that much closer. And um, it's about practicing and also recognizing that each day we could drive ourselves, crazy if we don't get outside. So our family makes an effort to go outside and plug into nature and, do activities that are safe. And we wear our masks. And my daughter is probably the best person in the family at wearing a mask. And she's so good. She's like this 3-year-old little, princess who's just wearing her mask, and she's cool with it. So I don't know how that happened, but my son's also very good, and they get it, and they really understand. And I think, we play games, board games together. We have movie night together. We bring elements of just good family time together. And those are now, we get the skateboards out, and we all of us now have a skateboard, and we go skateboard in empty parking lots. That's been like a big thing, just skateboarding around. And they're scooting and skateboarding now. And so we're trying to get outdoors, balance that also with special family time. And and just breathe and also realize that, everybody everybody has emotions that come out during this time, and we just, we try to level with each other and understand each other and love and respect each other, and also recognize that we're not perfect, and accept our imperfections, which may come out more because of our closed social structures now, and ability to just have free time or space. So I got to give it up also to my wife. Oh my gosh, because I don't know a mom out there right now, Jason, who's not a superhero, because she's been able to handle and manage the kids in such a way that I honestly, I would never be able to do the job she's doing. She's a teacher one moment, a chef looking after the house and a lot of the financial stuff. And our kids are still doing well, and they're, and that's a blessing to have somebody who's really strong, the kind of the glue of our family. So I feel blessed and very grateful.
For the families that might not have the strength that your family has and the support system that your family has, what kinds of advice would you give a family that might be struggling, or a young person who is living at home and is just, I don't know, in the weeds? And what's your take on that? Or what kind of advice would you offer?
Well, it's a great question, and there's no one answer that works for everyone, of course, because everyone's family dynamic is different. But I work with a lot of youth at the high school, and I also have a lot of young adults in my college classes. And one thing seems to be very clear is that spending all of your time alone, kind of in an introverted way, it may work for some, but the advice that I give my students and friends, it's always the same. Make sure each day you try to spend some amount of time outside.
Yeah.
Make sure you eat well and try to treat your body with respect. Maybe don't go overboard on all those substances that you may otherwise do, and everything's great and you can go visit a doctor without having to worry about getting COVID. So treat your body well, plenty of water, healthy foods, try to meditate. There's a lot of free meditation programs like Headspace and stuff that are available for free. You've got exercise, which is super important. And probably most important above all those things is spending time in nature, which has been a kind of a motif of our conversation, right? Which is if we go on that hike and we spend time outside, it really does help shift our mind from that red space to the blue and the green space. The water in the green, right? The greenery. And with that, you can just feel so much better after a moment outside. So that's, embracing nature, I think, is super important. Laying low on all the things that could adversely affect you, trying to stay healthy, and eat lots of bananas. They're good for you.
I recently realized that, I used to love bananas like all the time, but now I'm like, I have to be in the mood for them now, which is just something that's new for me.
Let me add one thing too.
Yeah, what?
Besides bananas, no, I want to just say that I think there are a lot of people. I have a lot of students in particular, Jason. I was just talking to a bunch of them the other day when we had this special appointment day where we met with students who are disengaged and performing, suboptimally. And the thing that I was hearing, hear parents getting divorces, students struggling with anxiety, depression, and students were opening up to me because these were special appointments that we were having with the high schoolers. And I've got to say that everybody out there, the more you can express yourself to someone that you trust, look to that good friend and tell them what's going on with you. Don't keep secrets. And because the more that you're open about it and you express what's going on with you, I think the better you can heal and at least maintain until we get back to some degree of normal. And I don't think people should resist reaching out for help at a medical level too, right? Because we're all going through some degree of mental strife right now. So a long time ago, I thought it was, I didn't think that seeing a psychologist or a psychiatrist was necessarily something that I needed. But having been to one, and I found it very helpful just to connect with the medical field in terms of just being able to get through my everyday hardships.
Yeah.
I think and if we just admit, hey, we're not perfect, we're fallible, and we reach out for help and realize it's there, we can all improve our mental health quite a bit. So that's something I would say. Don't resist it. Don't try to be perfect. Just accept that we're all flawed. Have you done that recently, Jason?
Talk to someone?
Admit your flaws and talk to people about your issues.
I live my flaws to my own detriment. No, I mean, it's like, it's just, I try to be very self-aware and I try to just stay plugged into what I'm feeling and what I'm thinking and where those thoughts and those feelings are taking me. And I try to work through them the best I can, or with the help of somebody else, or, I love soul searching. That's like so cathartic for me. And there's so many different processes and ways to soul search that it's a learning journey too. So I find great joy in that. What gives you great hope for the future?
Oh, wow. I could talk a long time about that, but besides having a loving family and seeing my kids grow up and seeing how they're turning out, again, because I am very lucky to be married to the person I am, and have a good family and friend group, right? I'm very grateful. I've got a great family and friend group, Jason. I'm very lucky to have you among my closest people. I think that I extract a lot of hope from. First of all, I have a bone to pick with hope. All right, hope is meaningless. Action is everything. Okay, and I know Dr. Goodall has told us we got to have hope, and without hope, our world it might not be worth living, and we might as well throw in the towel and all that stuff. But hope in itself, just hoping for change, right? Hoping that climate fixes itself and hoping that this polarization between political parties just mends itself. Hoping for it is going to do nothing.
Yeah.
So I tell my students, yeah, hope is good. Have hope, but you need to let that hope transform your behaviors into an action.
Yeah.
So the question I pose to a lot of people, do you want to be the inactivist or the activist? And that's really the question. So what activates me? Well, first I get a lot of hope because I see my students doing all of these crazy projects, building electric vehicles under the Wells Fargo umbrella. Thank you, Jason. And taking on these projects of, banning single-use plastic bags and building electric cars to erecting massive plastic sculptures on the 3rd Street Promenade to raise awareness about these issues, and testifying at a city council or a state council meeting, so that, and then when they see and they realize that their actions, not their hope, but their actions are helping transform society one drop in the bucket at a time, well, you see the light, right?
Yeah.
You see them light up, and then that's what gives me hope, because then they realize that they are an important part of the change that we need to realize in the world. And that is very gratifying on one level. It gives me a lot of hope, and it's what wakes me up in the morning to come do my job. I don't get excited about teaching DNA. It's like, yeah, DNA is cool, but that's not what wakes me up in the morning. It's the fact that I have an opportunity every moment on Zoom or in the classroom to help people understand where we are in the world, and insofar as what we're doing to the planet, what we're doing, this friction between us, and then hopefully inspiring them to want to be part of that change. And then, of course, facilitating ways that they can be part of that change.
Yeah.
And if
great.
I can do that, then hey, I will be 6 feet under. Well, hopefully not in a coffin with all that toxic stuff on it, but I will go down a happy person. Yeah.
And I ask all my guests this last question, and this is going to close this up, but what would you tell your 21-year-old self, knowing what you know now?
Oh, wow.
And I've known you since that time, so this will be interesting.
Well, I have something to admit, Jason. When I was in college at Santa Barbara, I was still in my me bubble. And the me bubble is this, obviously it's a metaphor for just living in your own world and not coming out and seeing the bigger picture, not thinking globally. It's a very kind of self-centered, egotistical bubble that we're in, where life is all about you. Oh, my soccer game, my surfing wave, the fish that I caught, my friends, my family, and we're kind of thinking small. And when I was 21, I wasn't engaged in news and learning about the world, nor was I really plugged in meaningful ways to improve it. And so if I had to go back to 21, actually scrap that. I would actually go back to maybe like 14 or 15 and just be like, okay, now you have a brain that's starting to work. Let's plug you in to current events. Let's read the newspaper more. Let's pay attention more to the news. And I'd say this to my 21-year-old self too. Let's step it up. The world's not just about you, but you could have a great impact in affecting positive change starting sooner than I did. I think I probably woke up to the fact that I could be a better member of our community, a better member of our ecosystem when I was maybe 26. So I would go back to my 21-year-old self, smack and speed, like, hey, get on the seahorse. Let's go. Let's do this.
On that note, Ben, it's good to spend a little time with you, get to know you even a little bit better. because, you know, these are some questions that I've never asked you before. So I love you. I thank you for taking the time. For everyone watching, thanks for taking a 20-minute break with me and my buddy Ben. And stay well, stay safe, love each other, be patient with each other. And if you want to learn more about, I don't know, helping the environment, Ben, where can folks go?
Oh, wow.
Where's
Well,
your top 2 places where for people to go check out if they want to help the environment?
well, first, vote with your dollars and with your ballot for things that matter, that are important to you. And if you don't know who to vote for and what to buy that's more eco-friendly and sustainable and fair trade and all that good stuff, perhaps plug into a local organization that you like or that you've heard about. That's a good starting point. And then realize that you don't have to jump in and start changing your light bulb and buying an electric car and everything all at once. One thing at a time, right, Jay? Hey, great to be here. Thank you for having me, buddy.
All
Love you
right,
back.
man. Take care. Take care, everybody.